Hello, 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 good people. This is your guy, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker, Mr. Educator, coming back at you live from the Lone Star State with another edition of the Media Mike Speaks. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. As you see here, what is going on in our own backyard. But before we get started, I want to remind everyone I will be starting a new channel called the Hot Mike Speaks. And I will be uploading videos on both channels, the Media Mike Speaks and the Hot Mike Speaks, because I'm getting two different types of audiences who want to post different things and talk about different things. So it would not be fair to mix it all together. So I am looking at dividing it up. And I also will be probably looking at a third channel too, to cover, different areas. So anyway, this was sent to me by one of my subscribers. And as you see in the title, Texas lawmakers consider limiting tenure after UT Austin professor sued students over accusations of promoting pedophilia. Pedophilia, I would say. Now, I did read the article thoroughly, and I guess they meant lecturing about Greek mythology and male adolescence. Is the brief part I got what that was all about. Now, we're going to talk about this. We're going to go through this. And as you see here, it also reads, one of these students sued by the teacher is the daughter of Alan Blakemore, a prominent conservative political consultant who has worked for State Senator Paul Bettencourt, who filed the tenure bill. Guess it's good to have friends in high places. And we'll talk about that too. Now, the article reads, and it was, once again, this is coming from the Dallas Morning News and the Chronicle of Higher Education. The Texas legislature is considering a bill that is on Texas Capitol Hill that would allow a public college or university to revoke a faculty member's tenure if they file a civil lawsuit against a student. If the students are not protected enough. But I guess the students, I would say, will be getting immunity, is what this is. It will be, you will have what they call the diplomatic immunity. The student will be free from what civil suit immunity. They'll pull out their little card with the little badge or whatever. I am civil suit immunity, I guess they would say. I'm immune from civil suit. Wow. So I guess the students now will be equivalent to a judge, because I don't think you can sue judges. They're protected. Well, the appointed judges. I think some of the elected judges too. So you can sue the attorneys, but you can't sue the judge. But someone, if I'm wrong, someone let me know about that. But that was the last time I heard you couldn't do that. So the students will have the same protection as the judge. Wow. Okay, let's get to this. This is probably going to be a little long one here, because we're going to we're going to pick this apart. Good people, we're going to talk about this. Now, the legislation filed by Republican Houston Senator Paul Bettencourt was inspired by a University of Texas at Austin professor who filed a libel lawsuit against multiple students who accused him of promoting pedophilia with his research and called for his removal. One of the students sued by the teacher. Well, why would they go from professor to teacher? Is the daughter of Alan Blakemore, which I did discuss earlier, a prominent conservative political consultant who has worked for Bettencourt. And there it is. It seems they got the connection for the protection, which is why things went in this direction. Now, the former professor, his name is Thomas Hubbard, who was tenured. And he was discussing some things in court in the class. I'm not going to go through all of that, but all right, he's done research on this. So at the time, former UT Austin president Greg Fenves said he found the content outrageous, but he maintained that academic research, including the study of controversial or offensive ideas, is protected by the First Amendment. Bettencourt said in a Senate Higher Education Committee, we're back to Senator Bettencourt, but I guess you would bet in court on Bettencourt. Anyway, he said in a Senate Higher Education Committee hearing this week that he was shocked when Hubbard took a dispute at a low level. Really? That's you could sue anyone. The student is an adult, last time I checked. And escalated it to the courts without trying to first resolve it with the university's grievance system. Well, I don't know how UT's grievance system works, but usually that's kind of protects faculty from administration. I don't know about dealing with students on that level, because that would most likely fall through administration if the faculty feels that the administration is taking the side of the student, and the administration comes down on the faculty files a grievance, because that's usually against the administration. So, but UT may do things different. But good people, feel free to leave what you have to, in the comments about this, please, on this. So just correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, that's what I thought. So the professor has to be the adult in the room, where they're all adults, sir. While the students are probably over 18, they're very young and inexperienced. Now, let me repeat this. While the students are probably over 18, they're very young and inexperienced. So if they're over 18 and one is 35, I guess they're young and inexperienced. Bettencourt, quote again, Bettencourt said, once they end up in a courtroom, the student is stuck in a civil litigation for probably 2 years or more. Well, the student is getting a hard lesson learned and a wake-up call about life, sir. Now, okay, let's move on here. In 2019, students protested at Hubbard's house, banging on the door of his house and vandalizing his home. He has since relocated to California and works for UT Austin remotely, and he should have called the police on their ass and had them arrested, because that's what I would have done. Probably wouldn't have had to sue. Wouldn't have to sue that. Lock them up. Come to my home. Bear in mind now, this is Texas. Open carry. Anyway, let me move on. Okay. One of the students who Hubbard sued is Sarah Blackmore, the daughter of what we talked about, the daughter of prominent Republican political consultant Alan Blakemore. Alan Blakemore, who serves as Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's campaign strategist and spokesperson, and has done campaign work for Bettencourt and other Republican lawmakers. So you see, they're all connected here, the people. This is where the connection comes from, and this is clearly, you can clearly hear what's going on about this. I mean, really. Now, according to the Austin American Statesman, Sarah Blakemore signed up to take Hubbard's class in 2019, but dropped it after she read his research. She dropped it after she read his research, but you weren't sitting in the class listening to the lecture. So you went there to get some research. It seems like this was a fishing expedition to me, good people. It seems like to me she was a plant. It seemed like to me that he already had some issues about his research and lectures. So they decided to put, I'm just saying allegedly, a mole in his class to gather this information. Because you see, it says after she read his research, she didn't listen to the lecture. Not saying she didn't, but this is more about she read the research. Court documents allege she passed around a flyer with false statements about his research and courses. Now, let me get this straight. The grown adult student exercises the same freedom of speech rights that she complained about. well, that the father and the senator complained about. She needs to know, however, slander and defamation is something you can file in Texas. And that's pretty much what he did, I do believe. Now, let's go on to quote what she had to say. I understand everyone has their own academic license. What? Academic license? We're not public school teachers. What? She doesn't know. Oh my God, did she say, I quote, I understand everyone has their own academic license. What is she talking about? College professors don't need a license to teach, unless you're talking about, K through 12. But as far as this, he seemed like he's a philosopher. What is he talking about? A little bit too much privilege, Miss Blakemore. But I don't think it's appropriate for teachers at a public university teachers to be promoting breaking the law. I don't think that was the case. Quote, Sarah Blakemore told the Statesman in 2019 she declined to comment to the Texas Tribune at the advice of her attorney, unquote. So anyway, in a statement, Alan Blakemore said he has spent tens of thousands of dollars defending his daughter against the lawsuit. So apparently there's something to it. So it seemed like to me he had you on the ropes. Now let's quote what he had to say. To think this could happen to anyone is what has gained the attention of the Texas legislator, he wrote. Since the University of Texas has not even attempted to protect my daughter, I'm glad the Texas legislator will, because you have friends, sir, in high places, unquote. Bettencourt denied that he filed the bill as a favor to Blakemore, calling the question, he quotes, hogwash. But he is a friend. Okay, now let's move on because this is wow. Now, in Wednesday's hearing, Senator Brian Birdwell, Republican of Granbury, raised concerns about the bill limiting a person's access to the courts based on their profession. Now, he quotes, I don't want to create a perverse incentive that student misconduct, whether it's libel or something more physical, that professors are placed in a position of having cause of action in front of court. But to receive that justice, I may very well find myself vacating my tenure, unquote, he said. Yep. But Bettencourt said the bill would not automatically revoke tenure if a professor sues a student. While he noted that it's rare for professors to sue students, he said the bill would offer universities the option and tell professors, if you take that step, there would be consequences, unquote. Sounds like a threat to me. Wow. Now, Senator Brandon Crichton, Republican of Conroe, filed another bill that would shorten the tenure review period for faculty from every 6 years to every 4 years. It also broadens the reasons universities could revoke tenure, including sexual harassment, wow, physical malfeasance, plagiarism, conduct involving moral turpitude, and other good things. Now, malfeasance is, I would say, you could compare it to conduct unbecoming or breaking the law, regarding you're doing something that violates the profession. And moral turpitude, that's lewd behavior, I would say. But yeah, if you're doing things, the conduct, almost like conduct unbecoming to a certain degree, or unethical behavior as far as you're a professor and you're cheating, you're doing some things that, not like plagiarism, but you're doing some things that really violates, your position. So, but y'all can look that up. Both bills were left pending in the committee. Crichton argued the case involving UT Austin and others have raised questions about whether the tenure process in Texas is working as intended, linking the practice to concerns about stifled free speech on campus and the politicalization of higher education. Now, he goes on to quote it, a tenure is an invaluable tool to recruit faculty and researchers in certain circumstances, but tenure also provides censorship and some examples of cancel culture. Crichton said, raising concerns with professors advocating particular positions or curriculum in the classroom that may or may not be appropriate. Unquote. Wow. But yeah, this is where it's coming. Oh, it gets a little deeper here because This is something serious. And I quote, a faculty member could face the revocation of tenure and the loss of their livelihood for exercising their right as citizens to seek protection under civil law in the same manner as any other citizen, wrote Lisa Dawn Fisher, a lobbyist for the association, in written testimony. Now, she is onto something, unquote. Correct. Tenure is a well-established practice in higher education that protects a professor's academic freedom and ability to research controversial topics without fear of termination. According to experts, it is almost unheard of for a faculty member to lose tenure and remain employed. Typically, professors are dismissed for cause, including incompetence or some other misconduct, which I kind of sort of went over a little bit. The practice has been under attack for decades by conservative lawmakers who have complained left-leaning professors are indoctrinating students and silencing conservative students' free speech under the protection of tenure. So what is this, payback? Now, in the bill analysis, both lawmakers argue tenure also allows professors to become unproductive and prevents new faculty from getting hired. But experts say there's little data to back up either of those arguments. They are really pushing this. Now, Dawn Fisher goes on to say, she said that shortening the tenure review period will make Texas less competitive as high-ranking scholars would choose to work elsewhere. True, it's a merit to that, but in Wednesday's hearing, Crichton said, when these rare but high-profile cases come up, they hurt the reputation of Texas public universities. Well said, sir. Now, goes on to quote, we talk about free speech in public square, but there is a significant amount of damage when that contract protects that professor in ways that are granted through employment and through those protections that so many others in other respective fields of work are not protected, unquote, he said. Yet the public square and free speech provisions in those arguments are allowed to diminish that very brand, hurting so many as well as the institution itself. Now, Crichton did not respond to a request for an interview. Wow. I told y'all, good people, this is going to be a long one here. It is. And people in higher education better wake up. Public school also. I think they got rid of tenure in public school. I don't think they got rid of it for the whole state of Texas, but I do think in most areas they've done away with it. Then some small places may have it. I'm not sure. I haven't done my research thoroughly on that, but I know they did away with it in Louisiana. I mean, wow. Well, good people, there it is, coming straight from our own Capitol Hill. Now, I don't know about this bill, because on one hand, it seems we have tenure, civil service, and in some cases, multi-year contracts. But on the other, we're supposed to be at will. As for the student who pulled this stunt, like in the past, if you didn't like what the professor had to say, all you had to do was not take the class. Now, to go as far as to pass a bill through legislation, well, what does that tell us about the next generation? All right, good people, sad to say, but that's it for today. And remember, if you had or have a bad day, like this former professor, you may want to think about getting politically connected so that you can be okay. This is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker. Subscribe, share, and like so that I can keep rocking on the mic. And you all have a good night.